Here we are inside the 2013 Auto Sleeper Broadway EB. If we first move to the rear of the van, we will come to the main control panel just here. To turn the 12 volt on and off, we press this button here. Beside that, we then have the water pump. Water pump needs to be on for us to be able to get water out of the taps and fill the boiler up if it's been drained. Next we have the main isolator for all of the onboard lights, or they can all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. Next we have the awning light on and off. This next button here will do nothing in this model of van. These are generic control panels that other manufacturers also use. So if we were now standing inside an auto trail and we press this button, the lights would dim, but Auto Sleeper do not use it on any of their vans. Next we have tank heaters on and off and battery selection. So whichever battery you've selected is the battery you're using to run the back end of the motorhome, but also when you're hooked up to the main supply, that is the battery you are charging. We then get all other information via scrolling. So currently at the moment it's displaying external and internal temperatures, the time, and it's also letting us know that we've got main supply connected. If we now start going through, you'll see here it's given us conditions of batteries and how much water's on board. We have the main Auto Sleeper logo, time, and then this is where we can alter the time, etc. So all we do is we just arrow in and then just pick. We can also set a wake up alarm if we want to, and we can also use this as a timer as well. This one gives us a condition of the leisure battery, how many amp hours, what the solar panel's doing, and how many amps we're using. And then we go back round to the beginning again. Beside that, we then have the Truma combi controls for your heating and your hot water. This side here just literally picks the power source. So we have two wavy lines here, which is mains electricity using 2 kilowatts. We have a single wavy line, which is mains electricity using 1 kilowatt. We have gas on its own. We have dual fuel, so we have gas and mains at 1 kilowatt and gas and mains at 2 kilowatts. These particular settings are very handy in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. Once we've decided, so we'll use mains and gas together, we then come across to this side to decide whether or not we just want hot water on its own, heating on its own, or a combination of both. So at the moment the system is off. If we now flick it up, we're now heating hot water to 40 degrees. And if we flick it up again, we're then heating hot water to 60 degrees. You'll see on this side here we have an amber light. It's just letting us know that we are hooked up to main supply. And then we have an amber light this side, and this amber light will stay on until we achieve the temperature that we've asked. So once it achieves 60 degrees, it will go out to let you know your water is at temperature. If we are not using main supply, so if I now just flick it to gas, you will see that the amber light just goes out. If we now go back to the off position and now flick it down, you'll see we're now on a little flame. This flame this side does not represent gas. This side it does. This side it represents the blown air heating system. So it's just letting you know you've turned your heating on. So that's heating on its own, and then we can control the temperature just here on the inner dial. And then if I flick it down again, that's heating and hot water together. Next, we have the hob. So we have one electric hot plate just here, and that operates on this one here. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation, and then all the other ones are gas, and that is just a matter of pushing in and twisting around and pressing the igniter. There we go. We then have the grill, and the oven. Underneath the oven we have storage, but we also have, tucked at the very back, a plug plugged in, which is for the electric hot plate. If we then go to this cupboard here, you'll see a gas isolation tap for the oven. We then have the sink, and if we then cross over to the other side, we have the microwave just here. Do make sure that the plate is out for travel, and then it's a fairly standard microwave, start, stop, etc. just here. Beneath that we have the Thetford fridge. To turn it on, just press this button here. This is an automatic model, so if I now press this button until I find the one that says A, we're now in auto mode, and it will now find the best power source it can for us. So because we're hooked up to mains supply, it's now put us onto mains. If I now went outside and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as we start the engine, it will then automatically put itself over to 12 volt maintain. You will see that the screen goes black after a few seconds. All you do is you just tap the on off button and it will re-illuminate. We can take it out of auto, so I can manually put it onto mains. I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the moment because the engine's not running. And I can manually put it onto gas. Temperature control just here. Above the microwave we have the digital amplifier for the television aerial just here. We can turn it on and off on the side and control the boost just here. In here you will find audio, TV, plug-in points, etc. just there, but they're also in this stowage area here for a television. The actual television aerial itself is located in the washroom. So if we now go into the wardrobe, it is just here. It is just undo the collar and then push the mast up and then twist it about and get it in the position that you require, and then just lock it into place. Do not over tighten or it will split. We then have this tail here that we can turn if we want to flip the aerial from horizontal to vertical for additional tuning, and then it is just make sure that we are back down for travel. Also in here we have the toilet. Type into the cassette, just slide and then push to flush. Close again. Level indicator here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. If this has been left open, you will not be able to remove the cassette, so do make sure it is shut. We then have the basin and the shower. When we turn the light on in here, The extractor fan will also come on. And then also do make sure that the door is securely fastened for travel. Next we have the combi boiler itself. To drain it down for winterization, it's done on this little blue diamond just here. These particular drain valves are also automatic, so if the temperature drops below 3-4 degrees, it will automatically pop out. So, as you can see, it's just there. What will happen is if it auto drains, a little blue button will just pop out at the base of the unit. I can mimic that now just by manually draining it, by turning the blue lever like so, and then you'll see that little blue button's just popped out. To reset it now, all we need to do is twist and push the blue button back in, and it will then reprime itself back up again because I've left the water pump on. If this auto drains and the blue button's popped out, all you need to do to reset it is just push it back in. If it will not stay in, it's too cold in the van, and you will need to turn the heating on to generate some heat to allow it to reset. I always suggest when fully draining down the vehicle, once you've drained your fresh and your waste tanks and the boiler itself, that you then go around and open up all the taps. That way, if there is a harsh frost, what we hope is that the water is forced out the ends of the taps into an icicle instead of expanding the pipes and splitting it. Also in here again you'll see more gas isolation taps for the heating and hot water in the fridge. Battery charger on the back wall just there, leisure battery in here, and then a few 12-volt fuses. They are all labelled up, and they're more for bits and bobs on the outside of the van like marker lights, etc. The main consumer unit is located next to the fridge and is just here. So you will see the trips just there, so the 3 individual MCBs, the RCD and the test button, and then the 12-volt fuse is just here. We then have isolator switches along the top for heating and hot water, so if these are turned off, the Truma combi controls above the habitation door will not work. And the green one is for the battery charger, so again we want to leave that on because we want to be charging the batteries up when we're hooked up to main supply. Along here we just have the same buttons as we find on the main control panel, so to turn the power on and off, water pump on and off, lights on and off, and switch between the batteries. And then there's a black button just here which is full system shutdown, so if you're not using the van for long periods of time, you can press that and it will kill any residual draw on the leisure battery.